Welcome to our semi-regularly unscheduled live stream. This evening we will be attempting to talk about Israel, Iran, and my EDC acts. Israel and Iran being one topic and my EDC acts being a wholly different topic. Let me get the chat up and running and we'll go from there while we're waiting for people to get here. One day I'm going to schedule these so people can click the link and all that stuff. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet, which is ridiculous because I've been doing these for so long. We got two people here. I'm assuming one of those is Isaac. How you doing, guys? Men. I'm sorry. I hate when people do guys, dudes, bros, all that. We're men. We're manly men. But then I end up doing it myself all the time without thinking. If I've ever say guys, usually it's because hey Jerry, how you doing? I'm talking to a mixed company. Alright, hold on one second. I've almost got the chat up and running. We got 11 of y'all here. Freedom Dad is here. How you doing, sir? Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. All right, we're there. Chat's up. Oh, look, there I am. Oh, that's kind of fun. Okay, so first off, unknown knows BY Voivod. Isaac will be here in 10 minutes. Look at my shirt. This is my shirt my good friend Keith sent me. It says ungovernable. I don't remember where he got it from, but I love the shirt. Shalom, Landon. So this evening, I am sick. I know I was sick a few weeks ago. We've had a run of bad luck with the viruses here lately. So I have this blanket on because I am cold. And this evening, I'm returning back to the old reliable well. We're doing the bullet rye, mostly for its medicinal effects. It helps clear up my nasal passages. Wolfpack got sick too, and makes my throat feel a little better. I'm in desperate need of a haircut. I look like a damn hippie. Hey, can anyone tell me what the audio sounds like this evening? If it's still got that weird staticky in the background. We unplugged some things and we're trying to figure out what causes it. So if someone can let us know. Patrick E's back. How you doing, sir? Not good audio. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, fan is still going on. I don't know what the problem is. I really appreciate you listening through this stuff with that going on. I don't know what the issue is. It only shows up on the live streams. Wonder if this is just too far away. Does that sound any better? Because like I filmed the videos with this exact same camera or phone, and the videos don't have that on them. I don't know. Anyway, salud. Here's the mud in your eye, right? Okay, so we're not even going to try to not talk about the big thing going on. Jesse's here. Iran attacked Israel. That's pretty big. No getting around that one. I tend to not freak out about all the alleged panics that get going around. Nibiru. I was famously skeptical of Nibiru. Or Nibiru. I like Nibiru though, but it sounds sillier. What else was I very skeptical of? Obviously, we were all skeptical of COVID. home for the sound use. Oh, oh, now my computer wants to update. That's fantastic. Where was I? Oh, yeah. The eclipse, all that stuff. I generally don't get too freaked out by all of that stuff. Generally, life has taught me that if everyone's panicking, it's the one, just what they used to say, it's the one you don't hear that gets you. Hey, Jimmy James, how you doing, sir? Uh, if everyone's talking about it, it's probably not the one that's going to get you. Although I won't say I fell for Y2K because I didn't freak out about it or anything. I was just really excited about it. I had pinned a lot of hopes on Y2K. Y2K is probably why I'm like this. And those of you who were around back then remember just sort of the craziness that was going along with the Y2K. Hey, did moving the phone closer help the sound at all? But I had pinned a lot of hopes on it. I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps a few months before, and I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to join the real world. And the societal collapse was going to be what allowed me to not join the real world. Although I was woefully unprepared. I had a Mini 14 and 2,000 rounds of ammunition and nothing else. Nothing else. But it didn't happen, and I was disappointed. I remember that night I was at my dad was pastor in a small church, one county over at the time, and so we were at an all-night prayer vigil for the Shalom Fearmonger. Oh God, Jesse was 12 in Y2K. I had my second child already. Oh, I'm cold. So I was at this all-night prayer vigil, and I had my digital watch synchronized to the atomic clock and everything, and I was checking it all night long. Oh, Tobacco Row's here. Hey, I've been enjoying. Y'all go check out Tobacco Row. He's been putting up some. Hey, Les Lone Star. Tobacco Row's been putting up some. Yeah, those were the days. Been putting up some silver videos, and they're pretty good. They're fairly entertaining. So go check out Tobacco Row if you're interested. I think it's the Morgan Dollars. Hey, Tim. Do we have a moderator? If we have a moderator in this evening, if Tobacco Row puts up links, go ahead and approve them. I'm not sure if Isaac is actually in the chat. He said he would be here in 10 minutes, but that meant that he was here. Oh, Les is here. Les is here. Well, Sharon's a moderator. Is Les a moderator? Les, are you a moderator? You should be if you're not. Now I can't find Les. Well, the page is locked up. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, okay, Les is a moderator. Thank you. If Tobacco Row posts some links, would you go ahead and approve them, please? All right, where were we at? Oh, yeah, so, I was sitting in the prayer meeting checking my watch all night long, getting close. And I remember it got to be like 3 minutes away, and I'm like, here we go. And I'm all excited. I looked back down at my watch a little while later, and I realized it's 12:02. Nothing happened. They're not even the lights didn't even flicker. I mean, there wasn't even some smart ass who snuck into the back of the room and hit the white light switch. I mean, it was just why didn't I think to do that? Anyway, it was just the most disappointing thing. My prayers were not very sincere that evening. Anywho, my computer is locked up. I will not be active in the chat this evening. So, Wes, you've got the the load in the chat. Okay. So anyway, however, that being said, yeah, Lone Star here says his dad worked for IBM and it was a serious concern for them. It actually was a big deal. I think. I don't think the whole concept was uh, unfounded. I think they were just able to fix it. I think it was a manageable problem that they fixed. Uh, uh, but nothing crashed. I mean, nothing crashed. There was some stuff that didn't get fixed, and none of it crashed. But I get, that there were things that definitely could have gone wrong, and there were some systems that would have desperately affected. But they were able to. Anyway, that being said, Iran attacking Israel is an extremely big deal. Uh, Now, before we get too far in this, I got to tell you my biases. We all have our biases. Here's mine. I believe the Jews are who they claim to be. I believe they are uh, the rump descendants of Israel. Uh, I believe that they have been preserved by God through the millennia to keep His promise to Abraham and David. Uh, and while I recognize that they do not believe in our Messiah, I also believe very, very strongly that they are God's problem. And God has proven very, 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 very willing and able to punish them when He wants to punish them. But you do not want to be the instrument God uses. Hey, Kimmy. You do not want to be the instrument God uses to punish the Jews. Because as soon as He is done using you to punish them, He destroys you. Yeah, just gotta look. Where's Haman? Where are the Romans? Where's Babylon? Where's the Assyrians? Yada yada. We could go on and on and on and on and on. Uh, all the way down to what happened to Germany. Germany lost 20 million people in World War II. 20 million people. Something like one third of their population. I don't remember. I want to say there was like 60 million people. I might have that wrong. I'm pulling out the top of my head. So that's my bias. I believe that people who bless Israel get blessed, and people who curse Israel get cursed. Now, this is a vestige of my upbringing as an American evangelical. I'm still, for all practical purposes, I'm still an evangelical in all of my ethics and values. Uh, you know, Obviously, most evangelicals wouldn't accept me into their fold because of the Torah observance. But when you dig down on that, there's no big theological differences, and there's absolutely no values differences. We're virulently pro-life, all that stuff. Traditional marriage and very traditional marriage. Uh, we actually get a little Bronze Age in our approach to marriage. But so those are my biases whenever we're talking about Israel. I am terrified of the God of Israel. When He mounts up His high horse, things happen. Now, that being said, He is very, very willing to punish Israel. I mean, vast swaths of the Bible is God talking about how severely He was going to punish Israel. And remember, the Jews are a rump remnant, a rump of Israel, a remnant of Israel. So don't get me wrong; they could be in for a very bad time of this fight. But as much as I believe it, yeah. Oh, we're drinking the left. We're drinking the Bullet Rye. But when this whole thing is over, the Jews will still be standing and their enemies will be defeated. I promise you that. I believe that as much as I believe anything. Because all we got to do is look at the history. We just talked about it. Where's Haman? Where's the Babylonians? Where are the Edomites? Hey, Tampa Vikings. Where's the Seleucids and the Ptolemies and all of these people who tried to oppress the Jews? Spain fell. Everyone's fallen. anyone who opposed the Jews is gone, and the Jews are still here. Okay, so that's the history. That's the observable facts of the situation. The biggest skeptic in the world. You could go get the Richard Dawkins or some, who's that Baptist, that former Baptist who turned into an atheist and is such a, I can't remember. He's a big skeptic of the Bible now. Even that guy will tell you that the Jews have existed for 2,500 to 3,000 years. No one denies that. And of course, people who take hey Isaac, glad you're here, brother. Who take the biblical account literally. They believe the Jews have been here since Jacob, which, let's see, I want to say David was like 1,000 years before Christ, and I want to say that Jacob was something like 600 or 700 years before David. So you're looking at like 3,700 years, 3,800 years, still pulling that out of thin air. I could be completely wrong on that number. Don't quote, but it's ballpark. It's in there somewhere. That's the oldest civilization in the world, if that's true. No one's been around longer than that. The Jews predate the Greeks. We know that. The Jews predate the Phoenicians, or were at least maybe I can't. I believe the Jews predate the Phoenicians. I don't know if we can categorically say that no one disputes that the Jews predated the Phoenicians. Hey, Caddy Wampus is here. How you doing, sir? So anyway, all of that to say, all that was a long-winded thing. This is my biases when it comes to Israel. Israel is a Jewish state. I believe the Jews are the remnant of Israel. Whatever else you want to say, history tells me that God has preserved the Jews for thousands of years in the face of overwhelming odds. The survival of the Jews as a coherent and distinct people group is one of the great mysteries of history. I did not do that on purpose. You can't explain it because everyone has tried to kill them at some point or another, and everyone has failed. Okay, so that being said, Iran is attacking Israel. Now, I know in our community there tends to be two different camps when it comes to Israel. There's people who tend to agree with me in some version, of everything I just said. And then there's people who think, Israel is, Zionist. There's a whole Zionist project is Israel's aren't real Jews, the modern Jew is not a historic Jew, and so we don't have to worry about Israel at all. I just don't think the history can support that. I just don't. We know that the Jews that we know today, we have a strong historical record going back, at least through Rome, definitely through Rome, also into the Greeks. And there's just nowhere where the switch would have happened. It's just not historically a thing. If there was a switch, it had to have happened before Christ. And if it happened before Christ, then Christ isn't who he says he was, and everything we believe is a lie. So I just don't believe it. But that's fine. We can disagree. But when Iran attacks Israel, for me and people who agree with me, Iran is attacking the Jews. Now, Iran has been very, very, God says that he'd rather you were hot or cold. Iran is cold. God kind of likes the Iranians. They're very, very honest. They're very upfront. They tell you who they are and they tell you what they want. You don't really have to wonder where you stand with the Iranians. Remarkably simple people. Maybe I should say uncomplicated. Maybe that's what I should say, not simple. Let's say are remarkably uncomplex people. And admirably uncomplex people, by the way, too. We should say that. That is an admirable quality. They hate Jews. They want to kill Jews. Okay. Iran is this, and most of you know this, so I'm sorry that I'm boring you. Iran is this offshoot of Islam known as Shia Islam, which I don't understand all of the differences. Look, I'm a guy here with a high school education, and just barely a high school education. Uh, I had to work really hard to squeeze 4 years of high school into 5 years. But anyway, Iran is is this subset of Islam known as Shia. And if I remember correctly, it's like 20% of Muslims are Shia Muslims. And the big split happened real soon after the death of Muhammad. Uh, the Shias decided that the line of Ali, I'm going to get all this wrong. Anyway, there was this split. And the Shia Muslims decided that this one that Muhammad had designated an heir, uh, and I don't remember who the heir was. And so the Shia Muslims wanted to follow the family of Muhammad's designated heir, and the Sunnis decided to follow the guy who married uh, uh, whatever the child bride's name was. I can't remember the child bride's name right now. I can't believe Aisha. I think it was Aisha. I do not feel good. I'm in a bad way. So anywho, Islam splits. Uh, generally speaking, most Arabs are Sunni Muslims, and most quote unquote Persians are Shias. Uh, generally speaking, that doesn't always hold true, but that's kind of so. Anywho, the Shias believe in this thing called the 12th Imam. So there were 11 successors to Muhammad. Uh, there were 11 generations of successors to Muhammad in Shia. And then the family line, yeah, I'm sick, Isaac. Then the family line died out. So the family, we would say the family line died out. The Shias would say that the 12th Imam was hidden until the time of the end. Some of them believe he's living in the bottom of a well. Well, right. Uh, I'm trying. Look, I'm trying. Obviously, I am a Bible believing Christian. I believe that a whale swallowed Jonah and he lived in the belly of the whale for 3 days. Okay, I believe some things that people would laugh at. So I'm not laughing at this, but obviously it is very, very foreign to my way of thinking that the 12th Imam is hiding at the bottom of a well, or he's waiting at the bottom of the well. And you can actually go write uh, uh, notes on scraps of paper and throw them down the well to the 12th Imam, or the hidden Imam. And at some point, the 12th Imam or the hidden Imam is going to come back, and that's going to kick off the apocalypse. And the way to bring him back is to cause so much chaos in the world that he comes back to fix everything. This is my understanding. This is how it's been explained to me. I could have this completely wrong. This is how I understand and I am sure there are offshoots and branches, and I'm sure Shia Islam is as convoluted and fractured as Torah observant Christians are. I'm not. I mean, obviously, I disagree with them. Obviously, I don't share their beliefs, but I'm not trying to be catty or satirical mocking. I'm not trying to mock them. This is just my understanding of what's going on. So allegedly, the hardline Iranian Shia elites. No, this gets a little weird now. So there's the religious leaders of Iran, the Ayatollahs, and allegedly these are just crazy assholes who believe all this stuff. And then there's this secular elite that runs the country that like a lot of Muslim elites, they don't. And there's always a tension between these two sides in Iran. Uh, but my understanding is that the religious zealots are in ascendancy and have been for several generations now. And they want to propagate this chaos so the 12th Imam will come back. Now, when the 12th Imam comes back, and I'm not sure how all this works, but allegedly at some point Jesus comes back also, because don't forget, claim to believe in any version of Jesus. And then Jesus marries and fathers children and destroys Christianity. Uh, and, uh, and that's the goal of like the Ayatollahs, is to uh, allegedly, is to cause so much chaos and to plunge the world into such misery that it brings out the 12th Imam and kicks off the apocalypse. Okay, so so allegedly this is Iran's motivations for all this. And again, I don't know which side is an ascendant in Iran right now. Is it the religious crazies, or is it the secularists who are mostly interested in wealth and power? Just same as any other country, by the way. That's also not a criticism. Every country's secular elites are interested in. A country is blessed if only its secular elites are interested in wealth and power. That would be a wonderful position to be in. Anyway. So, what's happened? Obviously, Israel is in an existential crisis. Israel is always in an existential crisis. Uh, has been since its founding in 1948. Has never not been in an existential crisis. A legitimate existential crisis. Uh, it is a country of like 6 million people or something. 20% of who are not Jews. Surrounded by hundreds of millions, if not close to a billion. Oh, good, Les is back. 10 Tigers, which church? Separation of church and false state is a wonderful thing. Separation of church, separation of state and false church is a wonderful thing. The cooperation of state and the real church is a wonderful thing. So anyway, as part of its existential crisis, a few weeks ago, Israel blew up some Iranian generals who were in Syria. Was it Syria or Lebanon? Anyway, they were just to the north of Israel in a foreign country, and they were having a big terrorist powwow. Iran loves terrorists, supports all kinds of terrorists. Isaac, I am highly skeptical that there are many Christians in Gaza. I don't know how they would have maintained this long. I'm sorry. I know I've heard that. Hey, Sharon. I know I've heard that too. That there's thousands of Christians in Gaza. I am highly skeptical of that claim. Highly skeptical. But it's possible the church. The church has existed in many terrible persecutive places, so it's entirely possible that there are Christians in there, and we should be praying for them, and we should be looking for ways to support them. I hate what's happening. I hate what's happening to the Muslims there, by the way. Look, I don't hate Muslims. I have some serious concerns with Islam, but I don't hate Muslims. I don't want the Muslims in Gaza to be suffering. I just think, unfortunately, sometimes events are set in motion, and the train has to go through all of its stations on the way to the wreck. You know, once a train comes off the rails, you can't stop it. And if you try to stop it, all you're going to do is make it worse. That's what all these dumbass liberals get wrong. Time and time and time. Hey, Lance Corporal Veteran, how you doing, sir? Time again. We are funding both sides of this war. And that, now, Isaac, if you want to talk about America's strategic buffoonery, that is a different question. Actually, that is what I want to talk about. That's where I'm headed with this whole conversation, Isaac, because I want to talk about how asinine and self-destructive America is being. But let's take a little digression here real quick. Let's go back to Vietnam, or even Korea. And when liberals go to war, what liberals try to do is they try to do this nice little, they call it a harm mitigation, I think, is the strategy. where, well, if we got to have bad things, let's try to make it as least harmful as possible. But war is incredibly harmful. If you're making the war not hurt, all you're doing is making the war last longer, making it more destructive, entrenching the problems more thoroughly, keeping a resolution from coming into effect. That's why when we declared war on Japan, we said this will only end in absolute surrender. Towards the end of the war, Japan tried a number of times to negotiate a peace treaty, an end to the hostilities, and we wouldn't do it. Uh, they got him. uh, we would not stop that war until they surrendered absolutely. And it came to the point of, famously, you may have heard about this, little known historical fact, we dropped nuclear bombs. Uh, Not everyone's heard about that. Liberals come along and take over, and they want to do this limited war thing, and next thing you know, we're in Vietnam, and little girls are being napalmed. We're in Afghanistan for 20 years, or we're in Iraq for 20 years, because no one wants to break any eggs when they make their omelet, and so they never make the omelet. Uh, Israel and Hamas are at war. There is no such thing as a nice war. There is no such thing as a soft war. There is no such thing as an easy war. There is no such thing as a war where people do not die. Uh, the definition of war is people dying. Uh, you hate it, but let's not act like it's. I'm not afraid of Jews. I'm afraid of the God who protects the Jews. You gotta watch the first part of the video, the live stream. You gotta start at the beginning. If you jump in the middle of this one, you're gonna miss a bunch. I don't want to go back. Suffice it to say, everyone who's ever opposed the Jew. Oh, John Locke. Sorry, Chuck Norris. I should have known better. Uh, uh, where was I? Oh, if you try to have a limited war, if you try to just hey guys, let's if you try to make war a paintball match, all you're gonna do is get more people killed. This Israel-Palestine thing, it needs to end. And look, we've been trying this patty cake, uh, uh, this patty cake thing for my entire life. For my entire life. In fact, there was this thing called the Camp David Accords. It was Jimmy Carter did it back in the 70s, and it was this big détente between Israel and I want to say Egypt. Jimmy Carter, famously being from Georgia, he actually had this big retreat in South Carolina, right over the border, where they did all that. And I've been to the house where they did a lot of the pre-planning and negotiating for that before they went to Camp David and signed the accords. When was Carter? I want to say Carter was inaugurated in '76. So I was born, right before that. So for my entire life, we've been trying to do this. We've been trying to make peace in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. I'm almost 50 years old. We've been at this for 50 years. At what point do you say, all right, guys, finish it. Let's pick sides and let's do this thing. Because you cannot act like this has been humane. It has been in no one's best interest for this war, because it's been a war since 1948, at least. It has been in no one's interest for this war to go on since 1948. This peace process that's been going on since the late 70s, it's a farce. It's not going anywhere. All right? And the only people who are benefiting from all this foolishness are these cultural elites who get to buy and sell weapons and move vast sums of money around the world and siphon off whatever they can from the top. We just need, they just got to fight it out. Someone's got to win and someone's got to lose. Now, unfortunately, that means we have to pick a side. Well, maybe not. You could claim that maybe we could be neutral. I don't know. I think in this instance we probably have to pick a side. Why? Why do I believe we have to pick a side? Let me see if I can have some reasons off the top of my head. I guess it's all wrapped up in my religion, basically. At the end of the day, you cannot separate the Jews in Israel from the Christian religion. You can't. Now there are some foreign policy type, they are a friendly democracy in a strategic part of the world, yada yada. There's some massive technological advances that have fallen to America because of our partnership with Israel. They have an amazing military, Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, it does come down to religion. But anyway, and so why would that be different from Ukraine? Uh, yeah, Lebanon is a mess. It didn't used to be. Lebanon used to be the Paris of the Middle East. It used to be beautiful. Or Beirut. Beirut was the Paris of the Middle East, and Lebanon was this beautiful, well-run country. And then it just got destroyed. But anyway, that being said. Oh, yeah. So in the light of that, liberals, the alleged, damn it, I lost my mind. I really don't feel good. Son of a. Liberals who claim to be, these caring, kind, enlightened, selfless individuals who are morally superior to all the other idiots in the world. They keep doing these things where they're limited wars where they're going to win the hearts and minds of the people and show them the benefits of democracy and everyone, and deep and beating in the heart of every person throughout the world is a yearning cry for freedom, and it's not there. First off, that's not there. That's just a lie. All right, look, there have been very, 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 very few free societies in the history of the world. As far as I know, there are currently none. I'm not aware of any free nations right now. Certainly Israel is a socialist. I don't know if I'll say authoritarian or not, but they're certainly socialist, and they're far more authoritarian even than we are, and we're a socialized authoritarian hellhole. Look, maybe Argentina, maybe Antarctica, I don't know. But I'm not currently aware of any free nations. Oh yeah, Isaac. Look. Understand, when I say that the Jews are protected by God, I'm not saying that the Jews are any better than anybody else. I'm not saying that they're perfect. I'm not saying that they are not as batshit crazy as the rest of us. There is some silly, vile, violent, destructive stuff in the Talmud. The Talmud says some terrible things about Jesus. It says some terrible things about Christians, and it makes some pretty direct threats. But you got to remember what the Talmud is, and here I go. But I'm equivocating. The Talmud is a collection of teachings. No one claims that it's prophetic. No one claims that it's divinely inspired. Everyone claims that this is a compendium of essays on the Jewish faith. Literally. I mean, that's what it is. It's a compendium of essays on the Jewish faith, things that have existed for centuries. I do not think the Talmud is as old as everyone claims it is. I don't think it. I don't believe that there was an oral tradition. Luke can give us his take on the Apostle Paul. We probably don't want to get into that, Luke. I love the Apostle Paul. I think he is brilliant, and I think he's a bookend to Moses. I think you got Moses on one side, you got Jesus in the middle, and you got Paul on the other side. But anyway, so yeah, no, there's some awful things in the Talmud, but it's the Talmud. It's whatever. And again, like I said, but the thing is, the Jews are God's problem. This is my thesis. My thesis is the Jews are God's problem, not our problem. And if we let God handle the Jews, God will handle them harshly. He always has. That's at the bottom of all of this. I feel like sometimes there's a little bit of a lack of faith when it comes to the Jews. That people are worried maybe that God loves the Jews more than them, or like they have to worry that God's going to let the Jews get out of hand. God is not going to let the Jews get out of hand. God has never let the Jews get out of hand. He has always preserved them as a small remnant. He has blessed them, but he has never let them get out of hand. Now, we can speculate about what's going to happen in the Revelation at the end times, and maybe it gets a little weird there at the end. I don't care to speculate about prophecy. I believe most of the meanings of those prophecies are not open to us yet fully. We just can't understand them. That being said, I make no claims about the future. I'm just a hillbilly who lives at the bottom of a dirt road. Or no, I always get this wrong. I came up with this whole thing. It's self-deprecating humor. I have a buddy who middle of the book channel. The problem with that, Tobacco Rose, John the Baptist didn't write anything. He didn't leave us any direct indication of what his message was. He always gets on to me for being self-deprecating. He thinks it's a crutch, a little shield I hide behind. I think he's right, but it amuses me. So what I used to say, I'd say, I'm just a hillbilly who lives at the end of a dirt road at the bottom of the hill at the top of a valley on the unfashionable end of northeast Georgia. That's it. So, what do I know? I don't know nothing. That being said, you don't want to be opposed to the Jews. Just historically, from an empirical standpoint. Empirically, what happens to everyone who opposes the Jews? They lose. They suffer judgment. What happens when you bless the Jews? You appear to get blessed. That's just what I can observe with my eyes from my limited hillbilly understanding of history. You oppose the Jews, you die. You bless the Jews, or at least leave the Jews alone, and you get Kanye. What was the old, yeah, John, just stop. Don't do that. John Locke, don't do that. Please. Deliberately misapplying scripture like that is a terrible, 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 terrible thing. All right? And trying to appropriate scripture to justify things, you're profaning the holy when you do that. Yeah, that verse has been so misused. That verse is not about the totality of Judaism. That is not what that verse means. And please don't do that. All right, the scripture is God-breathed. It's inspired. It's no one. See there again. No one's worshiping Jews. No, don't be a jackass, John Locke. God, what the hell? Worshiping Jews. Okay, we worship Jesus, so technically we worship a Jew. You dumbass. I hate being this guy. I hate being mean to people for no reason. But that was a stupid thing to say. You just said something stupid in public. Well, don't worship the Jews. I'm not worshiping the Jews, moron. I'm looking at history and saying, oh, Spain kicked all the Jews out and it lost its empire. Oh, the Germans perpetrated a Holocaust on the Jews and 20 million of them died in the aftermath. What? This is not rocket science. Do you want you and your children to live under the blessing of God? Because from an empirical standpoint, it appears to me that when you oppose the Jews, you don't get blessed. Now, look, there's only about 6 million Jews in the world, I think, or 12. There's not that many Jews in the world. All right, there's more Sikhs. Your lives are not being affected by the Jews, John. Okay, look, listen to me. There are more Jews in the world than there are Sikhs. If you can be oppressed by that small of a minority of people, you deserve to be oppressed. If you are that weak, if you are that unable to defend yourself, if you are that at the mercy of the forces around you, then I'm sorry. You're a natural slave and you should accept your fate. All right, end of story. If you are probably an Anglo-Saxon, I don't know that for sure, but most likely, based off of the name, people who admire John Locke tend to be of the Anglo-Saxon persuasion. You are a member, if that is true, of the most powerful race to have ever existed. And you're scared of 12 million Jews? They've got one country that's 14 miles thick? You got it. You come on now, bud. Work with me here. Give me a little something. You control America, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada. All of the most richest, most powerful countries in the world are controlled by Anglo-Saxon Protestants, and you're scared of 12 million Jews? Get over yourself. You deserve it. If they can oppress you like that, then you're a slave and you deserve it. And deal with it. I'm sorry, you're a weakling and a moron. There's no other. There's nothing else. I don't have anything else to say for you. You are like 800 million people, the 800 like wealthiest, most powerful people in the world, and you're cowering at the thought of 12 million people spread out throughout the whole world under constant siege. I don't even know my own culture. You don't even. I've been sitting here for 45 minutes talking about my culture. I can't help you, John. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a nice man. I'm sure you're smart. It looks like you've just got a blind spot in this area. A lot of people do. I'm not going to hold it against you. However, you are most likely an Anglo-Saxon American. And if you are scared of the Jews, then you deserve whatever you get. All right? You are the most armed, the wealthiest. You're not free, but you're more free than anybody else. You have every advantage. You have more advantages than anyone else in the entire world. If the elders of Zion can oppress you, then you just need to take it because you are, in fact, inferior. That's all I can say for you. There's 800 million of you. You're the richest, most well-armed, freest people in the world. Hey, Wes S is here. If you can't stand up to 12 million Jews, I'm sorry, there's no help for you, brother. You just gotta go get your dog collar right now. Go get it. Ask him for the shock collar. Just like own it, man. Jump in, strip yourself down, and coat yourself with kosher cooking oil, and just throw yourself to the Jews, because nothing can save you. You are a lost cause if you can be oppressed by 12 million Jews. Who, by the way, are not only fighting you, allegedly, they're also fighting the 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. In the story, no, no, well, militant roots, yeah, exactly. Why aren't we acting like it? Uh, so anywho, Sharon's a Steelers fan and Les is a Jets fan. Isaac's back. I didn't even. So there you go, John. We appreciate you, brother. Hope you hope you stick around, but don't shoot me that line of shit anymore. Uh, Synagogue of Satan. I despise. I should look that up. I should look up that verse. It's my that synagogue of Satan verse applies to Christ followers. All right. That's the same thing where he's talking about in those last days, many people will say to me, Lord, Lord, and he'll say, depart from me, you wicked, I never knew you. All right. That is not some physical prophecy that says the Jews are fake. That is saying claiming to be a follower of Christ does not make you a follower of Christ. All right. Claiming to be in submission to God does not mean you're in submission to God. Being in submission to God means you're in submission to God. And people have tried to take that verse and turn it around and make it a political tool to achieve cultural and political aims. And that is wrong. That is immoral. Uh, that is unbiblical. And that was the base of why I got so angry. And then, of course, you did the whole, oh, woe is me. They're oppressing me. They're oppressing me. Do something about it, then. Be a man. Woosa. Woosa. Let's take it down a notch. Let's do some happy thoughts. So Isaac pointed out, and this might be somewhere where John Locke and I agree, that America's policy in this matter is, here's the problem. One of the problems we face in the modern world, here we go, a little digression, is that the language has been so diluted that we don't have powerful enough words when we need them anymore. Our policy towards this Israel-Palestine issue in America has become so schizophrenic, bipolar, that there is actually some blood on our hands because we refuse to take a stand. We want to play both sides. And in the end, we're harming everybody. There is some blood on our hands because we prop up Hamas solely. We could shut down Hamas tomorrow. We could. This is all about money. At the upper echelons, this is all about money. You know, when you get to that top layer of all this, money, 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 money. The head of Hamas lives in, I believe, the United Arab Emirates in a luxury hotel, and he just rakes in unbelievable amounts of cash. Most of it comes straight from America, and the UN and all this stuff. If we cut off his money tomorrow, this thing would go away in a heartbeat. If we didn't give Iran billions of dollars for some reason, this would have not happened. Do you read Josephus? I haven't read him directly. I'm familiar with many of the things he has to say, but I haven't, just sat down and read Josephus. So I'd be interested to hear your take on it, Tobacco Road. So yes, America has a lot to answer for in this instance. Now, I believe we need to cut off Iran. We need to cut Iran off at the knees. Well, we need to cut off the Ayatollahs. Believe it or not, the Persian people are actually a pretty dynamic, left to their own devices. They build a pretty good culture. It can be religiously tolerant, and economically vibrant, and uh, they've had some really good periods in their history. But but we gotta cut these damn ayatollahs off at the knees. They're psychotic. They're crazy. Uh, how is this rag that these Houthis, these Houthi rebels, this this is a bunch of fishermen, bad fishermen. They can't make it fishing, so they rob yachts. I mean, these are the pettiest, dirtiest little crooks in the world. They're how the Houthis of all people are holding up international shipping in the Straits of Hormuz is an absolute disgrace. It is a disgrace that the Houthis are adding 1 cent to the shipping cost of the world. It's insanity. There is right now in Houthi land, whatever the hell, I think it's Yemen. I think they're in northern Yemen. In Houthi land, whatever crazy little, mud hut they live in, there's people just sitting there, crouched around a dung fire, going, what, what are they, why, what do they do? Why are they letting us do this? They're gonna, and they're starting to think to themselves, oh my God, we're being set up. Like if you went to the casino and you just started winning no matter what. Oh, you ever seen the old movie Caddyshack? Old movie. It is old movie now. I think it was Caddyshack. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Caddyshack. Uh, but there's some old thing where, or maybe it was a comedy show. Anyway, someone's playing golf, and they've got it set up where there's all these. He keeps getting. He's not in on it, so it must be one of those old practical joke shows. But he's playing golf, and he's like every shot's a hole in one because they've got people. Oh, geez. uh, they've got people hidden around the golf course. He takes a shot, and they start relaying his golf ball and giving him a hole in one every time. And he shoots like 18 holes, hole in one this way. And he keeps like, he can't believe, what's going on? He can't believe it. He's, looking around. And I'm sure the Houthis are sitting in their mud huts around the dung fire, not sitting, they're crouched because they don't have chairs. And they're going, oh my God, they're setting us up. They're setting us up. There's no way they'd let us get away with this. They can't believe it. I would be shocked if they're sitting around thinking to themselves, ha, ha, our plan is coming together perfectly. They're thinking, no, too easy, too easy. Anywho, I just got an email from Keith. Anywho, uh, and the same thing with Iran. Iran is a pissant little military. Iran was in a war with Iraq for 8 years. Neither one of them could defeat the other. They kept just hitting each other with Nerf bats for 8 years. We ran through Iraq, remember? Was it 3 days? How long did it take us to run through Iraq the first time? 3 or 4 days? It was nothing. That first war, that first Iraq war, we saved American servicemen's lives because we deployed, and so they weren't home driving. And so we lost fewer servicemen in combat in Iraq than we would have lost to drunk driving accidents back home. That's how one-sided that war was. We saved American lives by going to war. That is a military dominance. That military that we saved, that military that we beat that badly, Iran couldn't beat them. For 8 years, Iran could not beat Iraq. Iraq couldn't beat Iran either. But all right, we ran through there in 3 or 4 days, saved lives, saved our lives, because our boys would have died in drunk driving, or maybe it wasn't drunk driving, it was just accidents. Period. Young men tend to die in motor vehicle accidents pretty prolifically. And so I think it was just traffic accidents, period. We lost fewer men in combat than we would have lost had those men been home driving. All right? So the fact that Iran is poking its head up over the berm is psychotic. I mean, just ridiculous. But see, everyone thinks it's these dumbass liberals again. It's like, oh, but the ghosts of Vietnam. You can't fight us because it will be a quagmire, and the ghosts of Vietnam will haunt you. But but we should have never done what we did in Vietnam. We should have glassed that place over, sent in the B-52s if we had them at the time. I think we did. It might have still been the Super Fortresses. I don't remember. And we should have just bombed the shit out of everything and said, see you in 20 years when you rebuild. That's what we should have done in Afghanistan. Peace out. We should have taken a weekend. We should have blown up everything that had metal in it. We should have left them with nothing that was metallic except the shrapnel from our bombs. And then just tipped our hats. We'll see you in a couple generations, boys. See how you feel then. But no, we've got to go in and we're going to build democracy. They don't want democracy. They don't think it works. I can't really argue with them. Look at us. We're a damn mess. We let Iran stand up to us. Iran is pissant, stupid little self-destructive shithole. Now, it didn't used to be. We let the Houthis stand up to us. The Houthis could not run a carnival. The Houthis could not run. They could not be carnies. The Houthis could not be carnies, and we let them stand up to us and interrupt global trade. Okay, Militant Root says, I don't know, Iran isn't Iraq. I think it's a sleeping giant. I could be wrong. I spent some time at the NRO, though. Well, Militant Roots, I'll certainly respect your opinion. All I can go off of is the past. And Iran couldn't defeat Iraq. Iran and Iraq had an 8-year-long war. And neither one of them could get the upper hand. And then just a year or two later, it might not even been that long. I don't know how long it was. We ran through Iraq like lightning through a loose goose. Sure, maybe if we were going to try to put, peacekeepers on the ground and we were going to try to, dye everyone's thumb purple so they all got to vote and they all felt, ownership of their... If we tried to do all that shit, yeah. But if we just went in with massive air power and blew up all their air defenses, and then just spent a weekend blowing stuff up, and again, hey, see you in 20 years, guys. I don't think they can stand up to that. I'm missing some comments here. So 3 mid-air refuelings for a bombing run Iran and return flight. But aircraft carriers. We have aircraft carriers. It is difficult for someone who, and Chuck Norris, I know that, I can't remember if you're a veteran or not, but I know that you're definitely schooled in these matters. I'm not necessarily talking to you here. One of our aircraft carriers has more firepower than almost every air force in the world. One of our aircraft carriers has more firepower than vast swaths of the world's air forces combined. It is really, 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 really difficult to visualize how overwhelming our air power is. And also, we have air bases in Italy, which I don't think that it's 2 refuelings from Italy, is it? Not with the big bombers. Now, remember, I'm talking about the big ones, like the B-52s type stuff. I think those guys can go a shocking distance without refueling. No, I'm not talking about no precision, save the goats thing going on here. This is Dresden, baby. If you make us bomb you, then you have to deal with the consequences of your own decisions. We can't love your children more than you do. You know, if you're walking around taking pot shots at your neighbor, you can't get all uppity when your neighbor burns your house down. You know, maybe he shouldn't have burned your house down, but would he have burned your house down if you hadn't been shooting at him? Like I said, I can't love your children more than you do, which is something that the Palestinians just have to realize. You can't ask the rest of the world to love your children more than you do. If you're willing to train your kids up, you know, from birth to want to slit Jews' throats and rape female Jews. And look, one of the things that they did on October 7th was they put a baby in an oven. They turned the oven on and raped the mother to death in front of the oven. So as they raped her to death, she had to watch her baby being burned to death in that oven. Like I said earlier, one of the problems we face today is that the English language has been watered down to the point where we don't have words bad enough for some of the things we need to describe. If you align yourself with that, if you justify that, if you excuse that, if you say, but yes, but I'm sorry, we're done. You get what you deserve. You have allied yourself with the worst kind of evil, and there's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry, you're on your own. Please don't come complain to me that the bombs destroyed your life. You raped a woman while you burned her child to death in front of her. You raped her to death while you burned her child to death in front of her. We don't negotiate with that. Ceasefire? What, are you crazy? What the I was about to say the Nazis didn't do things like that, which is a lie. They did. But that act was designed to recreate the Nazi atrocities in miniature, in micro. You know, the Nazis, you know, burned Jews in ovens. They didn't do it while they were alive. They killed them first. Zyklon B. But that act was Hamas aligning itself with Nazis and the Holocaust gleefully. Right? They weren't denying the Holocaust. You know, that's one thing to deny the Holocaust. And by the way, I'm okay if someone wants to quibble about the numbers because, you know, the degrees don't matter. If you want to say, well, I don't think it was 6 million. I've heard some folks go as low as 600,000. That makes it better. I mean, that excuses it. It was only 600,000 people. Shut up. 600. If it was 600,000 people, that's not enough? No. You silly Hitler. Not good enough. Try again, sir. Try again. That's a tenth of what you need to do. Bullshit. Anyway. So yes, America has to pick a side in this fight. Not picking a side. I don't know. I missed all this conversation that's going on with Isaac and I think Wes. I literally haven't seen it, and my computer's locked up, so I can't go back and look. I can't tell if it's friendly or if they're arguing with each other or what. So anyway. All right, let's get off of that because, frankly, when that October 7th attack happened, I had to shut down. I did. I shut down and I clocked out. It was so. Again, I don't have words. The English language has been debased to the point where our words are not strong enough to encompass what we need to express when it comes to that October 7th attack. And I'm not ashamed to say I needed room away from that event. I quit listening to all of my news podcasts. I quit listening to Shapiro and Crowder and everything. and I unplugged for probably 6 weeks, and just I don't know. I mean, anything I said would sound like some kind of pansy ass lib crying about my PTSD or my feelings or whatever. I mean, obviously I'm over it now. I'm not claiming ongoing trauma or anything, but in the moment it was too much. It was too overwhelming, and I just said, you know what, I've I've got to work. I've got to raise a family. I can't do this stuff. Okay, Dolph Schitler. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. So anywho, let's do a little palate cleanse. Those of you who watched our video this week, it was just a little short one. I didn't really have anything, so I just I threw one together, and I showed you guys my EDC axe. Where'd it go? Everything's going to fall down. And I challenged you to try to identify what axe it started out as. Now, the assumption in that challenge is that it started out as a recognizable axe. Oh, Patrick, you couldn't understand. So it's just stamped 1000. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, just 1000. That's the only stamp on it. Okay. So, obviously, I believe that it started out as a recognizable axe, and there aren't that many recognizable axes out there. I also showed you the leftover color that the head was painted. It is a Rhineland pattern. I showed you the head, and I said the head hadn't been changed at all. It hadn't been changed at all, except I sanded. The head was painted. 1,000 grams equals 2.5 pounds. Huh? Okay. And those were your hints. And actually, two people, I haven't checked the comments today. Isaac got it on the second guess. No less, but you're actually not too far off. Isaac got it on the second guess, and then there was a comment, and I can't remember who the comment was, who got it too. This was a steel forestry axe when I started off. If you've ever seen the steel forestry axe, this big thick part of the handle extends down to like right here. It's this really big chunky handle all the way down, and it's kind of an expensive axe. It's like it's probably $75 today with Biden inflation. Thank you, Uncle Joe. But I spent just hours whittling it down with a pocket knife, and then sanded it down, and it is just glass smooth. It is beautiful. And I put a little bit of boiled linseed oil on the handle. I'll probably do one more coat. So I'm actually pretty proud of it. I've got a lot of work in this handle. And then I think I'd like to paint the head a dark blue, maybe here back. I got to see if I've got any spray paint. I don't need to waste too much time on it. It's just going back in the truck where it's going to bang around. I actually don't use it that much because, oh no, boiled linseed oil isn't boiled at all anymore. It doesn't actually surprise me though. Because I work around, houses down in Atlanta, and usually when I have to cut trees, it's because I'm having to cut landscaping back from around the house so I can get a ladder to the roof. And you can't hack at it with the axe. Hey, Rusty's here. What did I miss? Oh my God, Rusty. This one's been epic. I think the chat is always the most interesting part of all these live streams anyway. I think the chat tonight was particularly spicy. It's probably a good thing that my laptop went down so I couldn't see what was going on. I probably would have gotten sucked into that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, so you can't hack on this people's landscape. You got to kind of you cut it and make it nice. And, what was I going to say about blue? Sharon says blue is not an easy color to track, especially in any low light. That is true. But I like blue. Matches my eyes. The Revolting Asylum. Oh, I like that. Oh, we might have to use that. We used to call it the Revolting Mob years ago, uh, but unfortunately, the two men who kind of did that, well, there were three of them. It was David Burden, Jimmy D, and Dean Goldberry. And David Burden and Jimmy D have gone to their reward. They have died, and Dean is the only member of the Revolting Mob who is still with us. We should resurrect that. But I like the Revolting Asylum too. How long is that handle? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's about 2 foot. No, it's probably actually it probably is a 24-inch handle. Oh, hey, I can tell you, my foot is exactly 12 inches. That's not how that works, dumbass. Yeah, it's about 2 foot. So literally. But it's actually a pretty useful little axe. It hits pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the Rhineland pattern, but that's just because I'm a bigot. And, I like American versions of everything. And the Hudson Bay pattern is an American version of the Rhineland pattern. Uh, the difference being this this is the toe, this is the heel. I always get that backwards. Pretty sure. You never pause it though when you're on camera and you say something. You're always questioning yourself in the back of your mind. On the Hudson Bay, the toe is flat. It doesn't have that swell to it, so it just comes across the top. The kind of the most well-known version of the Hudson Bay pattern is the Cold Steel Trail Boss. That's a Hudson Bay. The problem with both the Rhineland and the Hudson Bay is the cheek here, which is uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's narrower. Wes, you're so bad. Uh, because it's so short, it doesn't have as much grip on the handle. So heavy work can loosen the handle. But when you're talking about a 2.5 pound head on a 24-inch handle, it's fine. I rubbed oil in it until it got smooth. Anyway, stop it. We have a lady with us. She's a lady. Talking about a lady. So it's actually a really good little truck axe, and I like it. Uh, it's my get home axe. If I ever have to, if the MP ever hits and I'm in Atlanta and all the electricity goes off, yeah, that Council Tool camp axe, Jesse, it is a well balanced little axe. Uh, I have gone out. I have taken a stand publicly as saying that you should use a big heavy axe so that you can use a big heavy axe, and I stand by that. But only because you need to be able to use a big heavy axe. In reality, that Council Tool camp axe is is a great size for what most people need. It's just the fact that if you can swing that big heavy axe, and the time ever comes that you have to swing that big heavy axe, you can. But the vast majority of the time, that council tool camp axe will do everything that's needed of it, and you know more, because you'll have it with you. You Patrick E, I think a full size axe is 4.5 pounds, four to 4.5 pounds. A big axe to me is 6 pounds. Uh, Now, if you do firewood and you split your firewood, uh, you're swinging a 6 pound split maul most likely anyway. And so, you know, then you're in shape and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, full size axe. This is probably. Now, wait a minute. Now, you Canadians, Patrick Key's a Canadian. Them Canadians, you can give them a lot of shit about a lot of things. Uh, But them boys got some big old trees, and they know what to do with them. Oh, Wes S is gonna have a field day with that one. Go ahead, Wes. So, uh, actually, Lou, well known distribution for uh, what color actually forged in a blue. Obviously, the steel. What they just care about are the steel. They make a great they make a great head. They make the best steel. They forge the hell out of it. They make it beautiful, and then they'll just throw the. Well, I did see you. I didn't. That's not the direction I saw you going in, Wes. But well done, well done. A golf clap for Wes. That's fly of the night. But they'll just put the ugliest, chunkiest, most unergonomic handle on that damn thing. It probably explains their grenades and their potato masher grenades in World War II. They're like, the video audio is going. Uh-oh. Is it getting bad again, Les? It could just be my voice, too. I'm thinking my nose is stopped up. But I keep sipping my rye whiskey to try to keep it cleared out. It's lagging for Isaac too. I don't know what's going on with this damn thing. I want to blame YouTube me, but yeah, why would they care about me? Anyway. All right. Well, if the audio's bad, oh, and the screen's freezing up. Okay, we're going to call this one then, man. I apologize. Uh, I'm sorry that we're having the technological problems. Thank you so much for your French women. Luke B's all the French women. Where's the French women at? He likes them French women. A little, what's that, the Folie Bergère? Luke B is all about the Folie Bergère. Wow, wow. Weird, because of course the French have to do everything weird because of the French. But anywho, Ben, we appreciate Mather all night long. Wes S is not going to let this Canadian go. All right, man. Yeah, Isaac's related to Marie Antoinette. He's told us that before. I don't know why he's trying to tell that to Luke B, since Luke B is all about French women, and Isaac's suddenly saying, "I'm a French